1st of 2026. This is like my third video that I'm sending you guys. First off, let me introduce myself. My name is Cordero Ephraim, better known by Ra. I'm the prodigal son that has returned. I would like to use my platform to help the young brothers that are seeking to heal, to find themselves, to just have a different perspective on life, to actually feel what love is, what's genuine love is, and actually be happy once in your life. Or if you've already experienced happy times, though, no matter how temporary they were, to help you find what really makes you happy. So I would like to be an example for the young black men of America and other races that would like to heal themselves, to discover themselves, to rearrange themselves, to align themselves with what works with society. Overall, most important, align themselves with God itself and the things that are truly important in a man's lifetime. So let me not hesitate any longer. My life is a prime example of coming from nothing and making a lot of mistakes, reaping the rewards of those decisions at that time, and going through the journey of not only discovering myself, but identifying with what truly makes me happy and what's important. So, with no more hesitation, let's get to it.
What would you do if you weren't afraid?
What if I can become someone that no one thinks I can be?
You can make it happen. It can happen.
Nothing. But the thing about it is, we all have the ability to come from nothing to something.
I would like to start by saying thank you for watching my video. You made it through the introduction. Now let's get to the body of this thing. Let's start with, I am on my journey right now. Maturing, working on discovering, more about myself and expressing myself in a productive way, in acceptance of, sometimes you have to be assertive. And sometimes you may get certain situations where, sometimes habitual reactions come first, and then you'll have to make that mistake. First off, you correct your mistake and you make, amends with if you've hurt somebody. You definitely identify with that. You have to, even if, they don't, it's okay. The main thing is you forgive yourself, get back up and keep moving. I consider myself the hard head child of God, because I've made a lot of conscious and unconscious decisions that not only affected me, but the people that were directly in my life. So I haven't made amends with everyone, though I still pray that those who have experienced me in an unpleasant way find it within their soul to forgive me, heal, and I hope that their life is abundant, prosperous, happy. I pray that the Lord continues to bless you. And it's crazy that, a person that dealt with the unconscious need for approval, such as myself, I became codependent in a way. Only recently, I'm studying being a father and how to be a father and how to raise your kids and how to align with your kids. This is an experience that I wasn't robbed of. I just didn't have for my journey. And, with God being the author of this whole thing, I just accept that, this is the way the story was written. And for a long time, I've been upset with my father. For a long time, I've been upset with my grandmother because I felt like she ran my mother off. My mother also dealt with depression and anxiety, as well as a very common thing that we do when we're trying to heal is self-medicate. So, excuse me. Though alcohol provided a temporary dopamine, it also had its effects on my mother mind emotions. So she ended up passing, and that is why I was, so upset with, my grandmother, because, she went through abuse and the things that, so I had to find it in myself to accept, and acceptance is not easy, especially when you just feel like you're dealing with so much, when you just going through so much, and it's like, I don't want to accept that. I'm not happy with that happening to me. I'm gonna forgive who, man? Please, it's up. But the damage that it does to the person that holds that weight, it's like holding 2 5-pound weights or 10-pound weights up. And at first, it's okay, yeah, I can do this. But over time, your muscles tired, it's gonna drop. You're gonna, so you can only deal with certain things for so long, and it's all a part of the process of growing and learning yourself. So I had to forgive them, because I couldn't change that, and people use what they know and what they learn. So with me not having those things in my life, I was more vulnerable to other experiences that could have an effect on me, such as like the music I listen to, the type of people that I've been surrounded by. These type of people, places, and events have an effect on a person's mind, so over time I developed some character traits that, unknowing to me, it definitely misrepresented me in a lot of situations, though it was absolutely authentic in my eyes, because it was who I was at that specific time. So even though I am a male species, identifying as a man is more than just testosterone and testicles. So without that experience or example, I clung on to things that I felt made sense to me, that made me feel sufficient, that made me feel confident, that made me feel accepted. And when I talk about that acceptance and codependency, that is because, those things that you get from your mother at an early age, that love and embrace, and, the things that you would get from the feminine entity, has an effect on the child's ability to love and accept love, to, the feminine nature of it all, and even being supportive, and as well as the masculine nature of protect and provide power, security, leadership. Those things, when I left foster care, I went to juvenile. I didn't get help. I didn't get counseling. They tried medication. I've never been the type that's like really adhere to the notion that I need some pharmaceuticals that's not even all the way authentic and real, that's going to have more of a negative effect on my body than it's going to do for the actual issue that's going on inside of me. So they've tried many things. So along the way, I did feel like, that loneliness where you feel like you don't have nobody to talk to, it's just you. So that type of being in my mind kind of made it to where I felt compatible to misfits as a young man. I didn't have the parent thing. The parents would come to school with their kids type thing. All of that had an effect on me. But as a young man, we want to look tough. We want to, it's masculine energy. So I hid a lot of the pain and stuff I just kept compiling more on already open wounds that didn't contribute to the people, places, and experiences that I myself actually wanted to feel and attempted to experience, though, the weight of trauma definitely has its effect over time. So with that said, here we are, as a young man, and I'm growing to the age of where now consequences are more severe. You know, it's no longer a warning. It's no longer pick you up, call your parents. It's like now there's no, yeah, you. So I got my life to a point to where my criminal record didn't reflect a person that wanted to be successful. I definitely, I compiled a good amount of burnt bridges, specifically in relationships. You know what? To be honest, I would say about 80-90% of my issues did come from relationships. I don't really see no other area of my life that was, that after the time of, me developing the trauma and personifying with this trauma to where I wore it and try to make it look good. You know how you do it. Dressed up trash can, clean the outside, spray it up, make it look good. But when you open it up, it's pretty up on the inside, And these are the things that we try to hide, and we try to, we try to, through other things, we try to, it's like, hey, slide a hand and look at this though, until it's time, and then you get exposed through experiences or contingencies, and, hopefully you're able to identify with yourself, and you got somebody around you that love you enough to be honest with you and help you identify with what you are doing or saying that's causing the issue in the most correct and constructive way. So I had failed relationships, began to have kids, and it's one of those things to where it's almost as if, there's an invisible, like that's who I were, that's who I was, that's how I thought. And it's a whole nother mindset when you lost like that, because you just haven't been taught the correct things. Like, I truly believe that self-preservation being the number one law of nature, that everybody wants to be happy, everybody wants to be fulfilled and prosperous, everybody wants to enjoy, but you have to know how to enjoy these things. You have to know how to experience these things and what it truly is and what does it mean to experience those things. So, I began to, see what other people saw. And unfortunately, I wasn't around the type of people that would be there, in a sense. I was around more people that, once blood hit the water, the piranhas went into a frenzy. And now, before I actually cast that stone in that direction, I do want to say that, I found the answers in self-reflection, and I realized that I was actually attracted to people and attracting people whose situation, story, identity was similar to mine. And I say that because the women that I attracted and involved myself with was also fatherless. A few had self-esteem issues. A few had mother issues, but more importantly, the thing that stuck out was the at-home issues, and especially the missing parent. So we both being unprepared for life. We didn't give ourselves a chance to develop, to mature, and really identify with ourselves and, what we truly want and need, and how to, get through different situations in life. It just was bad all around. And me growing up in a toxic environment, I watched family fight each other like animals. My grandmother and her boyfriend, who's a very loving guy, both of them very caring, but, nobody's perfect. And, so it's witnessing these fights, this crazy stuff, and just like, I didn't have the childhood that everybody had, like being able to have your own room. You got a house, you come home from school, and you just, you just have a family, you have dinner. All of those things was just a figment of imagination for me. It was just something that I always wanted, something that I always dreamed of. I can remember all the way, I went to live with my aunt, my grandmother's sister, down in Fort Myers, Florida, back when I was like 9, 10, 11. All the way back then, that whole summer, like, I remember so much of just wanting a family. And the darnest thing was I was around family and extended family, but deep in my soul, things wasn't right. Things wasn't right. It was always so much fighting and traumatic experiences and so much drama, alcoholism, drug abuse, man, it was domestic altercations, like, so as a kid, it's like wet concrete, everything that falls on you leaves a lasting impression. And as I continued to have to experience through life, so much was coming to me, like, just, I would experience one thing, and the more I focus on understanding it, many people were like, hey, just get a job, get your money right. Hey, just quit drinking and everything will be all right. Hey, stop seeing so many women and things will work out. But all of those things are outside of me, being young and being lost and being this and that, and all of those things bundled up was not good for me within me, because this is what I saw myself as. This is what I viewed I deserved in life. And the more I understood, the less I could be mad at the people that experienced me. I definitely, every time I think about certain things, such as the things that people experienced with me, it's so humbling, because now when I meet somebody else and they going through it, I developed the ability to see within your soul. Like, I can see your intentions, and I can see a lot, and it's easier for me to forgive, and it's way easier for me not to be triggered, because the face of anger, the face of pain is anger. And I understand now that a lot of times I was projecting. I went through situations, and not all of them was like super serious, but at that moment I was triggered and felt tired of even going through it. And some things was just, I was just experiencing in my life. It wasn't even really like something that's like repetitious, but I felt tired. And to others, my reaction was like over the top. Oh, you're Libra, y'all, you just so emotional. But being misunderstood became a thing for me. It was just, it's like, oh yeah, he looks super thuggish, so he's a thug. And then when I open my mouth and start making sense in the way I talk, my cadence and the type of words that I use and how I express myself, like, they're like, so maybe, okay, he looks like a thug, but he's too smart to be a thug. Is he? Is he fake? So, to the thugs, he ain't ignorant. He just looked like a thug, but he ain't stupid enough to be, oh yeah, he ain't no crash out. And then the other kids on the more of the, L7, we would call square, which more the intelligent kids, was, oh yeah, he's cool, he's down to earth, and he's a smart guy. But I intimidate the shit out of him. You feel me? So being misunderstood is like a thing when you're unhealed, because you start to want to like people please, and you start to want to be accepted, and before you know it, you prioritizing this. And I can think as far back as like middle school, where I just wanted somebody. I just wanted somebody to just have somebody. Just go back home to this foster care place, or go back home to this abusive environment, living with grandparents and their drug abuse and alcoholism, and just toxic relationship environment. Was just like, school's the best thing. Like, I want to make all the friends possible, because this is where I'm happy at. And that habit, I did it for so long. It was just a thing for me. And unfortunately, when you have those type of characteristics, the world is not going to wait for you to heal. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you. Some people will, want to help you. Some will want to guide you. But this is the world we live in. So I would definitely, those things was taken advantage of. And I unknowingly, big mouth bass bit the bait over and over, And so I had people take advantage of these things that I lacked in my experience, in the understanding and identifying with certain experiences areas. So I did, however, feel betrayed when I found those things in course being played on, whether it was gaslighting, whether it was manipulating, using. So I developed the habit of not only playing victim, but identifying with victimization. It's like I'm expecting somebody to not understand me and take me the wrong way, and and all of this stuff has an effect on your mind over time, because so as a man thinks, so shall his reality be. This is not only spiritual, but this is religious as well. Like, thoughts are a part of meditation. It's a radio signal out into the universe, sending a signal and receiving signals. So in this time of just over time, just wanting to be, have those experiences that even as a child, you wanted. That's crazy, right? And me wanting a family made me so adamant to play house, like getting chicks pregnant, like. And each time was just like everybody saw, and it was very obvious, because these are the things I talked about. You got to understand, identify with the trauma. All I talk about was, I've been through this, I experienced this, I just want this. So I set myself up for it, in a lot of ways, for people to feel comfortable with, taking advantage of certain things that I put on the table. You can't blame a demon for being a demon, or an angel for being an angel. You have to accept it, make adjustments, and continue. Unfortunately, that's not what I knew at the moment. It was protect yourself. I went into defense mode. Unfortunately, and one thing that I do not agree with today as a man is putting your hands on nobody. Like, first off, people are not fighting these days. Like, you're gonna, man, listen, especially when you understand your ground state. Secondly, it's never okay. It's never okay to even choose violence in any situation other than self-defense and preservation of life, property, liberty. So I accept the wrongdoings that I did. I accept the mistakes that I made. I accept the fact that I didn't know no better. I thought I knew, and I was at the age of maturity and growing into the age of maturity, but my mind, my experience on life just wasn't there. And there's really nobody to blame, because this is not the story I wrote, nor did I know the power that I can write and manifest and attract the reality that I want. It was more of stuck in this repetitious mind of trauma, loss, failure, betrayal, letdown, trauma, loss, failure, betrayal, letdown. So I started seeking ways out, and love was one. Like, I literally would, man, I'll be in love with like 4 or 5, and it's possible, like 4 or 5 different women at one time, and genuinely love them. Like, I mean, genuinely, like, no bullshit, like no manipulation or nothing. Is I love you, I love you, I love you. And I'm sorry, it sounds crazy, but this is real. But at that age, I didn't know what it was. It was just, I knew that I needed this. I just needed that feeling. So, I attracted what I was at that time, and it didn't work out, So moving forward from the relationships is the financial part of just holding and sustaining employment, not only for myself, but for those who depend on me. Unfortunately, people don't understand the mental health part of, or going through anxiety, depression. I was in a stage where I attempted to use a problem to solve a problem. So I related to drug usage, alcoholism, and overindulged in women. These things provided a false sense of temporary peace, happiness, security, and of course, it has an effect on your mind, your thought process, your emotions, your sleep habit, circadian rhythm, is my parasympathetic nerve was messed up. Like, not only from the alcohol and drug usage, unhealthy lifestyle, the constant anxiety and depression was definitely had its effect as well. So working was okay as long as everything was okay. But the moment I was triggered, it was drink, drug, women, and those things take time, money, and effort. And as I put more time, money, and effort into those things, other areas, so dealing with the depression and anxiety was one thing. Creating a problem and solving a problem was a whole nother thing. So getting to the part of wanting to heal and identify with my anxiety, depression, took me to a stage of really going back into my childhood and these experiences of life. And you got to go back. You got to do the work, man. You got to do the work as much as you want to avoid it, sweep it under the rug, whatever however, it don't work. I'm telling you now, it don't work. It don't work. It don't work. It's not gonna work. You gotta face it. Only way through it is to go through it. You gotta face it. And I had to face myself, and I had to identify with, okay, I accept the fact that, I wasn't robbed of these things, but that just wasn't on my journey. And I know that God means me well. And I also accept that there are opposing forces. But primarily, I also accept that God gave me the power of choice. So that puts me in the place of judge, jury, DA. And I'm judging myself. And I have to accept the fact that it was me who made those choices. Whatever the excuse is, however I can justify it. Okay. All right. I made that choice because of what? Okay, how I feel. All right. So why do I feel that way? All right. Okay. So what is causing me to genuinely feel that way? Why do I feel that way towards these experiences? And it's like, well, I just went through this. This is a conversation, a dialogue that I'm having within myself. First person, third, fourth, fifth, all the way to 1,000. Like I'm in there. Accepting the fact that I just don't know. Period. That's what it is. That's what it is. So, and the things that I do know is like, okay, this is not working for me, bro. This is not gonna work. This is not gonna work. So I have to find other ways, whether it's University of YouTube, University of Google, or I got the assertiveness to ask questions and ask for help. Reach out to somebody, talk to somebody. Organizations and institutions that are actually here for young black men that want to develop and find purpose in life and actually get to it. So, I'm at the point now where I'm mastering many more traits now, and I am fixing and working on being a better father. I'm fixing and working on stability. The main thing that is I've recently accepted is I've put forth about 2 years straight on like just working a landscaping company. Now that was awesome. Your boy was eating 4,000 to 5,000 upwards to 8,000 a week. And then during that time, the relationship issues at that time, I was actually in a polygamous relationship. But we'll get to that in another video. Things started to happen, and what happened, I got triggered. And what happens when we get triggered, we go to that stinking thinking and old ways of thinking. And I went right back to self-medicating. Drinking increased. I picked up drugs again, like weed. Oh, I can't even eat without smoking. I still smoke, but so drugs actually are not good for you. Even though I'm not against the 420, every state ain't for it, so respect the laws. But I did that, and it kind of fast tracked the end of the relationship, And during that time, I started reaching out and helping people that really didn't deserve that type of help. Or I wouldn't say deserve, because everybody's deserving of help. It's just you just wasn't qualified at that moment. And for my business, I would rent U-Haul trucks, and I would drive to my customer house. I would handle business because child support had my license locked. So at that time, all I can do was just work, save money, get me a lawyer, and just try to make this thing work out. And because I went back to drugs and alcohol, so I got triggered and I went right back to the same thinking. Now, one thing about triggers do not make you weak and undeveloped. It does not make you unhealed. Triggers expose to you areas within yourself that need attention. And I had to accept the fact my triggers was not because of other people. I was triggered because there was something inside of me that is laying bare, and it was like salt on the wound. Boom. I see patterns. I recognize pattern recognition is a thing when a person is hyper attentive and defensive mode, hyper vigilant. You recognize word patterns, action patterns, responses. You just hyper vigilant, and that's what I was. So I saw a lot of things, and some things I thought I saw I didn't see. I was convincing myself that the absurdity of the effects that anxiety and depression have as a person. So now I'm seeing things that are triggering me, and I'm being able to connect them as well. So here you are, a figurative diagram with me drawing connections in between, my behaviors and my life experience, and now that explains the results I'm getting. So I'm in an area of my life now where I listen to older men. I reach out to men. I'm working on my child support. I'm actually working to get in the fatherhood program. Child support wasn't a thing that I truly need, because I've never been the type of father that would abandon his child. But because the situation between me and their mother I allowed myself to get ignorant. I can't explain her behavior or even identify her with you guys, because I don't want to say victim or aggressor, culprit, whatever we want to call it, because this is not about them. This is about me identifying within myself and taking responsibilities of my own ideologies, perspective, and actions. So because of the things that I said and did, they was just like, and I didn't understand like what it meant to fight to have your kid in your life. So when the girl was like, F you, I was just like, boo hoo, I lost my girl and my son, got to move on. And what did I do? I indulged in the behaviors that I've always did, more women. So it wasn't like I ran from that situation. I just accepted it as a loss. Even though I was hurt, I didn't deal with depression and anxiety so well because I was obsessed with having a family. So it was a very big loss for me. And things repeat themselves when you're young, like this. Your whole life, life is a full circle. Up, down, the ebb and flow of life. You rise, you fall, you move, shift. But so going from relationship to relationship, with these, again, women whose lives and backgrounds are similar to mine. Parental issues, self-esteem issues, development issues such as maturity. I developed a habit of meeting women, playing house, and things get traumatic. I respond in such an ignorant way, like, oh, it's all over and I'm not loved no more. Let me go find another woman so I can be loved, and just so obsessed with this. I've convinced myself and programmed myself like this is this computer's programming that is here, and I couldn't see it. Like, it don't matter. You could have wrote it on the wall, like, check this. Like, what is that? That's true. So that led me into here I am now. I am being a better father. Moving on to self-love, identity. That was a big thing for me because I came from an abusive environment. Like, and I had to accept a lot of those things. It taught me a behavior when it comes to self-defense was fight, and I'm fight or flight senses. I fight senses, and it was definitely ignorant, severely ignorant. It was no good for me. It was no good for people that experience, because now I got a criminal record, and now it's you went to jail for putting your hands on your kid mom, but she cheated with my brother while I was in jail. She, even when I felt hurt when they ran off with the narrative of me being a messed up guy, like my brother and my kid mom was like, my brother was telling my family, my kid mom was telling my friends. It was crazy, because it was like, here I am depressed and hurt. I just had my first son. I went to jail for like 4 months, and here it is, my brother played the financial support card and won over a naive girl. And that hurt me so bad, because I didn't grow up with them. I went to foster care. They went to Georgia to live with my dad. So I didn't meet them until I met my dad when I was like 19, 20. So it was just, so that had another traumatic effect on me, to where I didn't just result back to drugs and alcohol. I indulged. Like, I'm telling you, it was not enough out there to satisfy my need of temporary joy and happiness and self-acceptance. I felt horrible as a person. Like, I'm asking myself, like, how bad of a person you gotta be for your brother to be okay with violating like that? Or how bad of a lover do you have to be for your kid mom to be okay with that? Like, so I blamed myself unbeknowingly that the truth is, for anybody that's okay with violating and crossing those type of lines, the issue is with them. There's something severely wrong with a woman that don't mind doing that, and there's something severely wrong with somebody such as your brother that's okay with doing something like that. So I went into a point to where I got so obsessed with defending myself with my family, like the family that I knew in Florida and Alabama, more on like the hood ghetto side. So when we talk about understanding depression and anxiety, love and support as family, I'm talking about alcoholism, drug uses, abuse, manipulation, backstabbing. Like, that's what I came from, so foster care actually saved me in many ways, and in a lot of ways, because certain experiences I just, I was just a follower. Like, when I left foster care, and I was, I wanted to be like the cool kids, wanted to be accepted, wanted to be loved, and I felt like these people was family in the absence of what I didn't have. So, I just, and every relationship after that was like my leading thing was betrayal. This is what my brother did to me, da 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 da. Now, I didn't change the type of women I was attracted to. I didn't start working on myself. I didn't drop the drugs and alcohol. Man, I real deal, like, it just started crashing out, bro. It's just like, so there was a lot of self-esteem and self-acceptance lost after that. So I started wearing that, man. I became the team jersey of like, I'm stressed and depressed. I'm anxieties, and this is this use, and I'm just so overloaded mentally that I can't work. So the mental aspects of everything that I was dealing with had such an effect on my work, and I wanted so bad to just stay on a job. My anxiety was so bad. Like, the moment I walked outside, it was just like I felt like everybody was watching me. I felt like I just wasn't, I felt like everybody was judging me. I would hypervigilate, can't breathe, I'm lightheaded, I just need a beer or some weed. I need to go lay up under this chick so I can feel accepted and loved. It was just, and it's insane to have a mind like that and be absent of the fact that this is what you're doing. So, man, I honestly can't say at what point things started to change, because it's subtle. I just knew that I just knew that something has to change. So, as young black men in America, it's very alarming to see the amount of young black men crashing out, losing their lives, job, freedom, relationships, family. But I understand now that we need more leaders. We need more black men that are not out here, just judging. It's like, oh, look at these YNs, they ignorant, I can't stand them. Look at those guys, they ain't nothing. They don't have a car, they're not dressed for success. They just, and we look at people and we judge them by the superficial things, what they wear. You don't know what a person is dealing with and what's going on in their life. Granted, you can't be a certain way in this life. Life is full of consequences. So, and I know you can't help everybody. And there are some ignorant people out here. There are some people that are truly lost and don't want to be helped. But I truly believe in my heart, and myself being one of the main examples, that there are a lot of young black men out here that genuinely want to be on that time. We just haven't had that experience. We haven't had that conversation, or we haven't had that, is things that we need as men to aid our development. You don't just, as you age and eat, you become these things. You have to learn these things. So when you get to the age to where you can use a phone and you know that what your situation is, and you want to be happy, you got to get active, man. I waited so long for the right person to come in my life. I waited so long for the right event to happen. But the truth is, it don't happen like that, bro. You got to genuinely be happy. You got to know what you want out of life and know what you got to do and who you got to be to get that. And these are things that I'm still learning. I'm on my journey. I'm 36 years old, man, and I'm still learning and I'm still growing, and I feel like I'm a better man today than I was yesterday, and I'm still getting better. And because of that, I can't allow anybody to hold me to what that guy did in my past. I can't let you treat me and give me what you think I deserve based off the man that you knew me to be in the past. I'm sorry. So it's definitely cold. It comes off cold, but it's very calculated and coordinated, full of a lot of self-love, understanding, and patience for myself and God. So I am like a lot of, young black men in America that have started off wrong because of ignorance, the lack of knowing, the lack of experience. But I'm not going to sit around any longer. And yeah, it took a while from the age of maybe when I got out of foster care and school, and then back to trying to be around family. So I say the age of 20, 21 was to all the way to I'm 36 now. So I'll say to the age of 33 was when things really just what am I doing? And I have so much respect for the spiritual aspect of everything now, because I'm understanding generational curses, soul contracts. It's so much. Karma, dealing with karma, generational karma. It's so much. So, and I'm understanding now that a lot of these things that I'm going through, other men in my family have fallen victim to this same thing. Okay, so it's generational. So there's a spirit that's been around since my ancestors, man. I don't know how many years back, that has been having its way. It's been misleading. It's got my mom with alcoholism, my uncles. It's gotten my grandmother, my granddad. It's gotten so many of my ancestors. And, when we talk about the parenting issue, is definitely a big issue in my family. Yeah, absolutely. But we have not everybody, but they're absolutely. I'm knowing now that I've been chosen with a certain task and a specific experience because I'm the one who's going to break this curse. The prodigal son, the one who was once lost, the ignorant one, the one who they said wouldn't be shit, the one who they said wouldn't make it, can't be loved. He's lost, foster care. Nobody loves him. His mom gone, his dad gone, ghetto family is just spiteful, angry lovers. Is just, he ain't got nothing. Why him? And that's the same thing that many of the people that, you know, in the Bible that God chose to do his works, they were questioning, like, why them? Of all people. You know, so, and I'm so glad that it's God who get to write my story and not people. I'm so happy that now I can have an effect on the authorship of my story. And it's not dependent on other people writing my story. And because I understand that now, I don't no longer feel obligated to validate anybody's negative output, vision, perspective, insight on me. Like, you got to deal with that. Like, if you have a lover, you should probably express the way you feel to them, or you should probably talk to God, because that is the one who's ultimately in control of all of this. So I want to tell y'all brothers that you're not alone, man. And I know that things get hard and you feel alone, and, you know, and all of this, you just want the things that you've been wanting since you was able to comprehend just love, period, and acceptance, whether it's with family. Primarily, that's where, as Black American, that's where primarily majority of the issues come within our Black household, or the lack thereof. So, you know, I want to tell you, brother, that it's not over, man. I don't, bro, if you free, you're not in this grave, you got your arms and your legs, bro, there's billions of people in this world. So because a few people have had experience with you that were unpleasant, and they think you'll never change, or they out for blood, or they want you to suffer, or they don't never want you to be happy, or, bro, this world is bigger than that, bro. As many people out here, as long as you continue to grow, as long as you continue to love others, as long as you continue to love yourself and express that through the way you treat people, as long as you continue to put God first and not only desire the better experiences in life, but be assertive, actively, not when it comes to manifesting. This manifestation isn't just a thought. It's an act. It is a will, you know, so it's an intention. So as long as you are intentionally trying to grow, as long as you are intentionally involving yourself in people, places, and organizations that's going to develop and aid in the development of your character, your life, and your career, bro, make the sacrifices. And I understand the restrictions on the financial capabilities, especially if you choose to live life the correct way. You know, I know with me, things get difficult because, like, recently, 3 weeks ago, I just lost another good job because my background came back. I am on probation. They're on me, like, I need a payment. Child support is definitely needing a payment. So I'm struggling with keeping my license from getting suspended over and over, like, repetitiously every year. Like, you know, so I have felt stuck in a cycle, man. It's like, yo, I'm sorry, man. I'm getting these jobs, but my background come back, I'm released. And because of that, finding housing and being able to support and being able to do certain things is just hard, bro. It's very challenging. So I will say this is the thing that's not talked about in America, such as the institutions that provide these type of help for not only just communities, but individuals that are actually seeking to develop in the career field and develop as a family in America, especially as a Black man, a young Black man in particular. Your mistakes will be held against you. And if you make a mistake, it's going to have an effect on your life. And I'm sorry. And it sucks that society isn't as, no, I take that back. Not society as a whole, but the American system, the United States of American judicial system, does not keep your experiences from your employers. And I definitely understand why, because as a business owner, I don't want certain type of behaviors jeopardizing my finances. Absolutely not. This is my career. This is how I take care of myself and my family. So I understand that. And there are ways to get around this background thing, and I'm working on it. Ultimately, brothers, I would say look at what you're good at. Go to the IRS, file freely, get your LLC, go to Secretary of State, ground your business, look up some net 30s, find equipment. A lot of these places do want personal guarantees, so work on your credit. Secondly, get business insurance. Develop ways of marketing your business. Thumbtack, Line Pro Guru, all those different type of apps. This is what I use, landscaping. That's your financial freedom. That's your freedom. As a black man in America who come from an imperfect beginning, doing applications for this American system, thinking that you're gonna be able, it don't work like that, bro. I'm gonna tell you right now. Damn, they do have like bonds and stuff for like companies that really hire felons. But you know, it's, hey, more importantly, if you want to be free, you want to own your finances, you want to be able to take care of your family, you stop being fired because of your background or past mistakes for 10, 15 years ago, man, be a business owner. Get free, control your life. And that's the biggest thing that I had to tell myself. No father told me this. No father told me this. I can call him right now, and what he's going to tell me is something that he want to do for me at a certain date and time, and he's not going to come through for it. And that has been a habit my whole life. So asking about, hey, what can I do to better my life and my experience and become a man and be able to sufficiently take care of myself and my family? Listen, YouTube, University of YouTube gave me this, right? So there's nothing wrong with searching for the answers and the guidance that you need. Brother, get on YouTube, Google, ask questions, man, call people, all right? Because there are ways, and the best thing that I learned for myself is, so the journey is definitely getting back into this landscaping company. So y'all look out for the Raw Superior City Services. I'm gonna be back in action. You can actually see a lot of my videos because I did record a lot of my videos from tree trimming, truck removal, gutter installation, cleaning, and maintenance. Lawn cutting, pressure washing, small, medium, large, hard scrape surfaces. That's me. Go to my YouTube at RA, which is RA, Brand Connections, and check out some of my videos. I will be back up and running when I get this business going. And another thing, young black men, is besides, you know, the financial freedom, is get yourself around better black men. Not other misfits that make you feel accepted and calling them your family. Not other, you know, hustlers, pimps, or anybody, bro. If they not, yo, listen, I'm looking at your hand. Is he married? You know, is he mature? How's your moral character? Not if you cool. I'm not, how cool you are do not determine if I accept you or not, bro. It is how genuine, how honest, how motivated are you now at this age? Like, absolutely, you got to meet that criteria. Because now I'm understanding how your environment plays such a big role on you as a person. So I want to give y'all that, man. I love y'all black men. I love my sisters. I love every race and culture. But as a young black man who specifically had young black man experience, I want to say this, that it's not over. It ain't never over, bro. It's only over when you quit. And even then, it's still not over because God is in control. So I've made amends with my past. I've forgiven myself and I've moved forward. I've forgiven my parents who, you know, gave all they could. I know my mom is still in heaven looking down and guiding me, though I try to get on the nerves sometimes. You know, my father is who he is, but I still love him. It's just very difficult to desire the son and father relationship from somebody who never had it themselves, and failed to, you know, the healing has to be done with me. I know that this is my responsibility. This is my responsibility. So watch out for the black sheep, man. Hey, man, I love y'all. I love every last one of y'all, and thank you for watching my video. And I hope that I've affected you in some shape, form, some way, in the most positive way, brother, to not give up, to keep fighting, to keep moving. God loves you. God bless. Peace.